So I have this life, and I have this job, but I found out that just being a slob was a thing I knew. So drive on through.
Hey everybody, this is BadBrad again, back with another theme. This one I like to call Symmetry, and I've used a style that has become very popular now, which is the flat, hollow style that is becoming very common, but very efficient and useful. So the first thing I want to just show you guys is the lock screen here. I've got a locker screen ready to go. I'm going to be doing a tutorial after I get the main screen done. So here's just a bit of a sneak peek at that. And I've got a weather, direct to weather, direct to voice search here. I don't know if you can see that or not. And direct to the camera. And then the missed calls, missed text, and Gmail. And a custom locker down here. So once we open up, we've got our Symmetry design. The colors are probably not quite right on here, but trust me, it looks pretty good when it's all installed. The key thing about this design that I like is that it is, for the most part, a single page design, although I do always add a calculator on the right and a calendar on the left, along with the weather and the time and my battery bars along the top. So you get a very good instant view of your battery, along with the day and the date. So it's very good. The other thing that I've done is I've created these larger tiles which allow you to make a direct link on these. So for an example, down here I have the camera, and if I click on just the big part of the square, it will open up my camera. So I'm able to take pictures with the camera app that I use most often. But I also have a little feature where if you tap on the little icon, then it brings up a folder with all of the camera apps that I like to use. So I've done the same thing with media here. If I tap on the orange button or the larger space, it gives me my music and brings that up directly. But if I click on the little headphone icon here, then I get my folder for all of the different types of music or media related apps. So very flexible. We've got the Play Store, Chrome, my phone apps, email, and text messaging down on the bottom. These are completely customizable by you. One of the neat things here, if you notice, if I hold down on the icon here, this little icon is movable. It's not part of a UCCW or anything like that. I built the background in Zooper widget, and the other parts are just perfectly fit into this grid that allows you to move things around, change the icons how you like, change the text, change everything about this, the colors. All of this information up here is customizable. This is a separate Zooper widget at the top, so that is modifiable by you. I've got, as I always like to use, the widgetzoid power toggle. You can adjust that, of course. Okay, so that is about it for the design. I will also show you how to get the calculator and the calendar widget set up as well, but overall it's pretty straightforward. The neat thing about this design too that I really like is the background can change the look dramatically. So if I was to just want to change this, and because there's a lot of widgets overlaying, I usually just create a separate page for this so I can hold down, change my wallpaper. So if I was to select a different wallpaper for this, I could say select this Nexus live wallpaper and set that, and when I go back to my home screen, you can see now it's a much darker stylistic design, but it works really cool and gives you, again, part of that symmetrical sort of styling. I liked the gray sort of effect that I had going there, but also you guys could totally mix this up. I'm just going to show you one other one just so you can get an idea here. If I was to go with a lighter wallpaper, let me just see which one here. And for just so you guys know, recently Nova changed their background, so it's a little bit different. And if we look at this now, with the lighter color on there, again, the color is a bit bright here with the video, I apologize, but it's got a nice blue kind of effect to it. So if you want to have a little brighter style, it really works, and you can mix this up really easily just to change the design. So you can have fun with it, and appreciate you guys giving me all the great comments on my past designs. So keep up the thumbs up and the love on mycolorscreen.com/BadBrad. So without further ado, we'll get started on the tutorial. Okay, so as I mentioned before, this is my lock screen that I've got finished up, and I'll be doing a tutorial for this shortly. This is using UCCW instead of a Zooper widget, just because we needed to have the calls, text, and Gmail on there. But I'll be doing that shortly for you guys if you like it, and we'll just open up and get started. So the first thing that you're going to need to make sure is to go to my list in the description in the video, or if you go to mycolorscreen.com/BadBrad, you will be able to see the complete list in the library on my color screen that you can use. So check that out first. Once you've got the files installed, and I do ask that everybody try to make sure they install everything, because I get a lot of requests from people saying I can't figure this out, and it's because they haven't installed everything. So try to make sure that you've got that happening. The first thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to have to plug in our phone into the computer first, and once you do that, you're going to see, like with my phone, I'm using a Nexus 4, so it comes up with this particular, I guess it's like a drive listing, and it just says internal storage. If I double click on that, you'll see all these different folders in here, okay? And if you have a hard time locating certain files on your phone, I believe they're all the same for things like Nova Launcher, but your Nova Launcher backup goes into data. So if you click on data and then you click on Tesla Coil Launcher, you'll see a folder called backup. And in here is where all of the backup files go. So you don't have to worry about this if you follow my instructions to copy the files over, but sometimes people have a few issues. I have had one or two people say that when they copied them over, they had a file that didn't copy properly. So if you have a problem locating the file when you followed the instructions, just copy them over again, and that way you can ensure that the files have been copied properly. Okay, so the files are going to be unzipped. Once you download my main files, you unzip the file and you're going to see these 5 folders: data, fonts, themes, widgetsoid, and Zooper widget. The fonts folder, I've put the Museo fonts in there, which are the ones I used. By all means, you could use different ones. You could just use the default ones. You could use anything you like. So those can be customized by you, but I have included them for you. Some of the phones may not support the fonts the way the Nexus 4 does, but you can give it a shot. The themes folder, I just always create a folder called themes and then put the wallpapers in there for you. So you got all the wallpapers, and you've got the widgetsoid profile that I've created for Symmetry, along with the Zooper widget profiles. Okay, and there's a few different ones there, and we'll go through these so that you can set everything up. So the very first thing that you're going to do is you're going to copy these 5 folders. Okay, so all you do is click on the first one called data, hold shift down on your computer, and then drag them over to internal storage. Once you do that, it's going to say, would you like to copy these over? You may have some things already in there that might say, do you want to overwrite them? You say yes, and it should work perfect. If you have any problems, by all means, send me a comment, and I will do my best to help you out. But once that is done, all the files should be located on your phone, and you'll be ready to go. So once you've done that, your phone might look a little different than this. This is the absolute bare bones default touch launcher program that comes on the Nexus 4. If you're using a different phone, yours may look a little differently than this because you're going to be installing Nova Launcher. So we go ahead and we install Nova Launcher, and then once that is installed, you're going to, if you tap on your home button, you will get a prompt, something like this. And you may just only have the two. I've got Lightning Launcher on here already, but any launchers that you have, you'll be able to choose. So what we want to do is just tap on Nova Launcher and then select Always. And what that does is it makes Nova Launcher your default. And then the next thing you want to do is just tap down on here and brings up all of your open apps. You want to swipe away the launcher app and any other ones. If you want to get rid of them, you can swipe those out of the way. So I've got AirDroid running for this, but once you swipe that away, then you'll be able to use Nova as your default launcher. Okay, so now the next thing that you're going to do once this opens up, and yours is probably going to just still be a basic screen. There's not going to be any of these things on here yet because you haven't restored it. So I've got this restored on mine right now because it's already part of my system. So what you're going to do is ignore anything on your screen, and then we're just going to tap on your app button, okay? And you're going to have probably the regular circle there that you can click on to get to your apps. And then once you've done that, you're going to scroll down until you see Nova Launcher settings, okay? You can alternately double tap on your home screen, and that will usually bring up your settings too. But on mine, I have so many widgets overlaying on there that it won't bring up the settings. So for now, we'll use the app drawer, tap on Nova settings, and then we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom until we see backup and import. We tap on that, and then we're going to click on restore. And then we scroll all the way down, it's alphabetical, until we see Symmetry. We tap on Symmetry, it says, are you sure? We say okay. And then once that loads, you will see something similar to this, okay? Your icons may or may not look like this. Make sure that you've got the SMPL white and SMPL black icons installed. I tell you, these are probably the most handy icons I've used. I find them incredibly clean. There's a huge library of icons, so when you want to change them to something else, you've always got something that will work. Some icon sets are just not broad enough in the amount that they have, and it seems crazy that some of these people have made hundreds of them and you still feel like they don't have enough. But the SMPL designer is fantastic. If you have a design or an icon request that you don't have, send the guy an email, he'll make them for you. He's fantastic, okay? So go ahead and get those installed. And now we're going to just start to restore a few of our widgets, okay? So the first one is the one right here where that little hand is. This is the main Zooper widget profile. So if we tap right here, anywhere in the middle, so that it's going to bring up Zooper widget. And you do need the latest version of Zooper widget. This one it's just been upgraded a little while ago, so make sure you've got the recent one, and that way it'll look the same as mine. We slide over to the right, and then these are all of the saved profiles that I've got for Zooper widget. So you just scroll down to the one that is called Symmetry. Okay, so here it is. We just tap on that. Takes a couple seconds to load. And then we tap the back arrow. Okay, and then presto, it appears. And that is one of the easiest things that you'll probably have to do, because it's super simple. And if the icons and everything are there already for you, then you'll be set. What I will say is I'm going to do a little bit of a tutorial at the very end of this video for people that have not used Zooper widget but would like to know a little bit more about customization. So I'll take you through a few of those things later, but for now we're going to set up the rest of these widgets. Okay, so if you want to, you can tap over here right up on the top, and this one is for another Zooper widget that we're using, and we scroll to the right, we scroll down. Sometimes they're a little bit harder to find, so we go Symmetry main header. That's the one we want. We tap it, and then we hit back. Okay, so now that has appeared there. These two icons here are desktop visualizer icons, and those are used, I like to set these up so that if I want to use, say for an example, if I want a full weather forecast, I can overlay a little icon on here so I get really quick access to my weather. I can still see what the current weather is, but if I want a full forecast, I can use Desktop Visualizer to create an invisible icon that is still tappable. So if I just kind of touch on the weather that's underneath here, it's going to bring up my weather. And we do that just simply by tapping on the widget, and it brings up this little green guy folded over. We tap it again, and then you can select an icon. Okay, now the thing that I use for this is Simple Text, and Simple Text is a icon pack that allows you to create text icons that are just pure letters, but you can also make them invisible. So if you don't want to use Simple Text, you could save a transparent PNG file onto your phone and use that instead. Some people like to do it that way. If you don't know what I'm talking about, a transparent PNG, then don't worry about it. We'll do it my way with the Simple Text widget. Okay, so just click on Others. So scroll down until you see Simple Text. It's right here. And then I have a lot saved in here already, but we're going to create a new one. So you just tap on Create New, click on Create, and you see where it says New right here. You just tap beside that on the right, and then just hit the back arrow to delete your text. Okay? And then tap down here just to remove your keyboard, and this gives you a sample of it. You see how this is blue? We don't want that to be blue. We want that to be transparent. So we just have to tap on this right here and go to the next section, and then tap on the color wheel, and when that comes up, very slow, sorry. We just drag this all the way down so it's transparent. You just slide it over to the right, and then once that's there, you'll see the color disappears. Click on OK. So now when it comes back, you're just going to see the little square now. It looks like it's transparent. Okay? So if you tap up on the three dots in the corner, you can now save this style for future use. So if you ever want to use this idea again for something, just save it, and then you'll have that as a saved profile to use later. After you do that, then you have to click on Save Icon, and once that saves, you'll just see that this shows as a transparent icon now, but it says bitmap data, and that is good. okay? Then we select the action. When we tap on that, all we want to do is select a application. So once that's been loaded, we click on Launch Application, and it's going to bring up all of our list of apps. We scroll all the way down to the bottom, wherever you find your weather. I'm in Canada, so I use the Weather Network, which I like, but you all have your favorite weather app that you like to use. So mine's the Weather Network. You may have a different one. Feel free to select whichever one you like. Tap Clear. We don't want any text on there. And the other thing that I don't like is I don't like to have a touch effect with color. If you tap on that, you can select none, and that will just make it so it doesn't make a colored box around it when you tap it, but you could definitely choose to do that if you like. And then you just say OK. So now that that has been selected, if I go ahead and just tap on that, it brings up my weather. Okay, so it is kind of handy, and I love using little shortcuts like that. It just makes your life a little bit easier for using the full screen that you have. So for this one here, I use voice search. So I'm just going to tap that and do this very quickly so you guys can see. We select icon, we go to others, scroll down to the bottom, select simple text. I will use my preset one that I've saved. Tap on that. Tap up in the right corner. Select Save Icon. Click on Select Action. Launch Application. Scroll to the bottom. Select V for Voice Search. Tap on Voice Search. Clear. Scroll down, select the orange one, say none, and we're good to go. We say OK. And now when I tap here, brings up my Google search. It even said bring up my Google search. How about that? So we'll go back. So now that we've got that one set up, we're good there. And now we just need to restore our widgetzoid toggle. And you could use power toggles for this. There's lots of different toggle widgets that are great. I like widgetzoid. I just feel the look of it is a little nicer for the icons. You tap to restore, and by default it's going to have nothing in there. You can modify what I've done if you like. You just click Profiles, and you scroll down until you see the one that's called Symmetry. Tap on that, and then say Load All. Okay, that's the black one. What we want is Symmetry 2. Symmetry 2, sorry. So I have saved one called Symmetry, which is black, another one which is Symmetry 2, which is white. You could choose to use the black one if you use a lighter theme wallpaper, and that way you've got both. Okay, so just go ahead and use which one you like, and if you want to modify them at all, you can go to toggles and you can add toggles by clicking here and adding different ones, or if you want to remove them, then you can just tap on up here and delete them. You can move them around. You can do all kinds of different things with them. But for now, I'll just show you what I've used, and I've got a GPS, a ringer control, so this one will go from vibrate to sound to silent, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi data, and Wi-Fi tethering. So you've got a bunch of the ones that are regular there. You just hit apply, and now we've got it back in place. Okay, so the next thing that I want to show you is applying the wallpaper. And the one challenge that I had with this one is because I'm literally covering the entire screen with widgets, there's nowhere for me to just hold my finger down on the screen to add apps or add wallpapers and things like that. So what I've done is if you tap on your home page, home button, it will bring up your screen. And I've got an extra one in here right now. If yours looks like, I'll just delete this. If yours looks like this, then all you have to do is tap the little circle in the corner here, and it will add an extra screen for you. So if you tap on that, that one's going to be on the far right side. And then if I scroll over, you'll kind of see here if I'm scrolling over, that's my third page. So this is my fourth. If I hold my finger down on here, wait till it comes up, and we just select Wallpapers. And I'm using the very latest version, and I do use the beta update versions that you can choose to opt in for in your settings. If yours does not look like mine, then it means you're using the regular version and you can try to update it. If not, I'm sure you can figure out how to apply a wallpaper. If you can't, ask a friend. So the one that I was using is the Hollow Icons Unseen Vision. And you can, by default, you may come up with, you know, when it starts, it might be here where it says apps and it shows you the default ones. But if you scroll to the right, and if you make sure you've installed the Hollow Icons app that I suggested, then you will see them here. I have also included these 4 wallpapers in my files. So if you can't find them like this, you can certainly go to your gallery, tap on gallery, and then find the available wallpapers wherever they are. Okay, so that is fine. Go over here, tap the very first one, and it will set it up. Once we go back, now you can see we've got a nice subtle gray design pattern in the background, and it works very well. I think that the design has got a lot of color in it, so I did like the muted style of this more than having something that was also too busy or something like that. But by all means, it's not going to hurt my feelings if you want to just go crazy and choose something else. So have fun with it and feel free to play and adjust. Okay, so now that that is done, I'm going to just talk a little bit about these icons here. These are folders, okay? So if I tap on the headphone icon, it brings up the icons that I've got here, okay? Now, I'm using the Gulors icon set, which was made by Danut on, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, Danut, on mycolorscreen.com. They're excellent icon set. He's adding lots all the time. They're very, very good. If you like a hollow style and you don't want to buy the Gulors one, then by all means you could use the MyUI icon sets or the default icon sets, whatever you want. These ones are all in folders, so it's not quite as critical, but I like to use ones that are fairly similar to the design style. Okay? So each one of these is a folder. So utilities is a folder, games is a folder. My favorite game of all time, Tower Raiders. If you haven't played Tower Raiders, get on it. It's the best tower defense game in the world. News, I've got all of my news type stuff in here. So just a handy way for you to use the icons as folders. So you really only have one page for everything you need. Some people have asked if this could be used as a tabbing option to go to different screens, and you certainly could do that if you wanted to. You could make these go to other pages and so forth. The other thing that I have done that is kind of neat is, like on news, like I said at the beginning of the video, news and the whole blue icon itself links to Facebook. On my camera, the text here and this green square links to my favorite camera app. Media, if I click the orange box, it links to my music, Google Music. And you could go ahead and you could do any of these however you like. At the very end of the video, I'm going to show you guys how to change all this stuff so that you can be masters at Zooper Widget and change the text, change the links, make it your own, do what you want. I know that this isn't always the exact layout that everybody wants. I've tried to cover all the basics here. I've got your app drawer, your texting program, your email, Chrome, Play Store, and your general phone. Okay, so these can be again modified in Zooper Widget. I'll show you at the end. But first, we're going to set up our other pages. Okay, so if I scroll to the left, we have a couple of more widgets here. So first one we're going to do, tap at the very top. This is resizing, or the Zooper widget for our secondary pages. And if you like the one that I did for the main page, then by all means you could just use that one. They're the same size. But I changed up the secondary one a little bit. And what I did was, on the main page, I've got the battery power bar sliding down green and gray here. On the secondary, I made it gray and green so that when the battery touches on the sides, it's green all the way through, and the other side it matches. So minor detail, but it's certainly important to me. So click on this one, secondary header. It will refresh. Once it pops up, you got that on there. And then you just hit the back arrow. Okay, and it pops up and we're good. Okay, now the next one here, we tap to restore again, and this one is Neat Calendar Widget. So you have to select the calendar that you want to display. If you tap in there, you can choose whichever one you like. You can go back and you can do what you like with that. You click on appearance if you like. Most of the settings on here are pretty straightforward, but the main one that you want is you want to be able to go down to background opacity and tap on that, and we want it to be 0. We don't want any background on it because we already have a dark background. We say OK, and then the primary colors I use are pretty much white, and then this dim color for the time, I've added a little bit of opacity to that. So if you see here, I've set it to that, but pretty much all white would work. Okay, so all we do is we hit back, click on add widget. Okay, the other thing that you're going to notice is there's a widget behind here. Okay, now the reason there's a widget behind there is that I've created a Zooper widget that has a gradient on it. And you don't have to use it if you don't want to, but it's important to either get rid of it because you don't want that little hand in there. So what we have to do is, if we hold our finger down on the calendar, it's going to pop up and say send to back. And this feature happens whenever you have overlapping widgets. And in my profile for Nova Launcher, I've said to allow widgets to overlap. Okay, and you should have that by default anyways because you restored mine. So if we click on send to back, it's going to push it behind. Okay, so now the Zooper widget is on the top. If we tap again in the middle, it will bring up Zooper widget, and we scroll to the right, and we scroll down to the bottom somewhere, and we're looking for the one called Symmetry background. Okay, and we tap that and we hit back, and when it loads, you'll see it gives us a little bit of a different effect. Okay, so what it does is it's darker at the top and it goes to a gradient at the bottom. And if we hold now again in the middle, we want to put this on the back. Okay, so what that does is it pushes it behind, and now our text is nice and bright white. Okay, so again, if you don't care about that back feature, get rid of it. You can hold down on it and delete it and just use the regular wallpaper behind there if you want. But I like just to have that little bit of a gradient on there. I think it gives it a nice touch. Okay, so we're going to do very much a similar thing here. If we tap on the top, we're going to scroll to the right, scroll down all the way to the bottom, and we're going to select secondary header again. Okay, that should sort itself out. We hit back, it will appear. So now what we have, I used a couple of icons here on my design because I have like a flashlight, and this is like a little app refresher thing, and this is my screen dimmer thing, and this is an app I use to go to get my hair cut at this place. So these are kind of apps that didn't really have a place on my main screen, but I wanted them to be very readily available to me. So I put them on top of this screen, okay? So if I wanted to, I've got the weather stuck in there. So I'm gonna just tap back and I'm going to show you how to get rid of this weather. It's very easy in the Zooper widget. You just tap on layout, and these are all the things that are in this particular widget that I've added. The one for the degrees and the one for the weather icon, we just tap on those and select the icon, and then up in the top we hit trash, and now they're gone. If we just hit back, we don't even have to save it if we don't want to. It now removes those, and I've got my little icon set up here so that I've got some kind of quick access ones in that space. If you don't want the icons there, by all means just hold down on them, delete them. If you want to add your own, go ahead, add them in. And then down in the bottom we'll hit tap to restore. This one's super easy. It's a calculator widget that I really like. It's called Calculator 10 Themes. And I'm using the white motif. If you would like to change it, you can tap that. As the name explains, there is 10 themes. So you could go through and pick one that you like. I find that the one called white is excellent. I like the little rounded shapes. It's a little flatter. And you can follow my button sizes. I've got them as a 7. And the screen size is set to that, so you can go ahead and change them how you like. Okay, I've got to show the extra bar, and just hit accept, and we've got our calculator. Now you're also going to notice behind this we have the little finger in there for a Zooper widget, because I have the same background gradient in there. If I hold down on the calculator for a second until this pops up, I hit send to back. I tap again on the Zooper widget. It's going to pop up. Scroll to the right, scroll all the way down to the bottom, select Symmetry background, tap on that, go back. Now when it comes up, you hold your finger down again, send to back, puts it in the background, and you got the nice effect. Okay, so that just about does it, folks. We have our Symmetry design set up and rocking. So you could now stop the tutorial if you like. If you're happy with the design and everything else, check out right now and you can turn it off. If you'd like a few more pointers, then stick around. I'm going to show you how to use Zooper widget a little bit more, as well as SMPL for the icons and how to change those and so forth. So give me some thumbs up on YouTube. Give me your love on mycolorscreen.com, and I look forward to seeing you again. So for those of you that stuck around, I'm going to just take you through some of the basics of Zooper widget. And all we need to do for Zooper widget is tap on a space to open up the preferences. Now I have made these all hotspots. This one, or sorry, the utilities I haven't, media I have, camera I have, and news I have. So if you tap on games here, or work here, or utilities here, or I think actually the work one I've sent to go to Gmail. So for any of these ones, if you tap on the green button right here, it will bring up Zooper widget. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is I can take you through just the basics of the main screen. This is just where you set your location for your weather, things like that, the default location, your global preferences. If you want to have Celsius or you want to have Fahrenheit for your weather, you can change those things. If you want to force an update to refresh, you can tap that and it will refresh your location and your weather and everything else. If you had a calendar in your design, you could choose to use that. And one of the other things is your background. We've got it set to be transparent. if you wanted to modify the design and just use a solid color. I played around quite a bit with that, even using white, things like that. It looks quite nice, or black. So once you've got the preferences set up for the main widget settings, we tap on layout. Okay. Now, if you select these it says rectangle. These are all of the big buttons and the small ones. So if we tap on one of these, what I really like about Zooper widget is it shows you what you've selected. So this one is the background. Okay. If I deselect that and I select the next one, this is the purple one. If you didn't like the purple color, you could change it by tapping on this after, but I'll just take you through these a little bit. So as we select these, you can do one at a time and it'll show you which one you've selected just by going through. So it allows you to kind of find what you're looking for as you go through them. So as you scroll down, these ones are the little ones in the corner, and it shows you the size here too. So it's got like the width and height. So you could tell which ones are the smaller ones just by seeing that they're 42 pixels wide versus the ones up here are square at 111 pixels each. Okay, so anytime you want to change those, you can go and you can tap on them. So we'll start just by tapping on the purple one, which is the second one in the list, and you don't select it on the right, you just tap it here. Once that comes up, it shows you your X and Y offset are just the positioning of where that widget is. So if I want to do really fine movement on my widgets, I tap the little arrows and it will move them a little to the left or a little to the right. If I tap here, it will move in 10 increments. So you see now the purple is moving because I'm tapping, oops, I tapped the wrong spot there. If I'm tapping on this larger arrow, it moves it a little bit more. Okay, so you can adjust things if you want to play later on a different design or something. You can move things around. Same thing with your Y offset, moves it up and down. Okay, if I want to change the on tap for my app, I select this. So if you had a utility that you wanted to use that you could select an app, you tap that and then you scroll to the right and it shows your entire app list. You could also go to a shortcut. So for anybody that maybe wants to try setting up their shortcuts to say go to a different page, you could scroll down to your Nova launcher settings right here, and you could do jump to page. And if you wanted to go to page 1, 2, 3, however many you've created, you can select that and you can decide which page you want it to go to, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, for this I'm not going to do that, but you have lots of options in Nova that will do things. Even for an example, maybe I'm going to make Nova settings come up on here so that it's on my icons now, so I don't have to worry about trying to get to Nova settings. I can just tap on that and it'll bring that straight up. The other thing that I should mention is that I did create a gesture control on the main screen. So if you slide your finger from the bottom up, it will bring up your Nova settings. So we had to restore Nova in order to get that up, but now that Nova's restored, you will see that after. Okay, so that's a sidebar little note there. And if I confused you by that, then just ignore it. Okay, so so now we're going to look at the colors. We tap on the little square, it brings up our colors. You could choose to select any color you want. If you don't like the purple, you can change that. You can also copy colors. So if you hold down on this and you like this color of purple and you maybe want to use it on other icons, you can just tap up here and you can hit copy, and it will copy it to your clipboard, so you could then go back to other icons and paste the color number into the other icons if you wanted it to be all the same color, for an example. You wouldn't have to try and fudge what the color is. You could just save that. Okay, so for this one we'll leave it as purple, but that gives you an idea. The width and height is here. Those are the sizes of the icons. So if you wanted to modify this, maybe you want to make another row of smaller icons and move these all down, you could certainly do that.
You know, it takes a little bit of time, but welcome to the club. So just keep working with that. If you wanted to have like an outline on things, you could put outlines on there. You can apply shadows. You can put blur effects, all kinds of different things on there. You can put gradients on them, and the gradients are kind of actually interesting. If you click on the gradient mode, I almost did some gradients on here, and you select linear, you can see the icon is now changed. It's kind of ugly with the green, but let's say that I was going to use a purple. I could tap up here and choose to make it say like a dark purple, and now I've got like something that looks like it's gone from light to dark. Okay, so you could play with that if you like that kind of effect. Again, I was going for that real ultra flat style, so I didn't end up using it. So I'm going to say none, and it goes back to default. Okay, so once you're happy with the way that you've set up your icons and you've changed your links and everything else, you just hit back. And Zooper Widget is very good at saving as soon as you go back. Okay, so we're going to now scroll down and we're going to find the text that we created called utilities, which is the purple text. So if I tap on that, again, it comes up with very similar settings. Your X and Y stuff can move the text around. You can scroll down, and if you want to change your text, you just click on Edit Text Manually. And Zooper Widget has some incredibly cool features for like battery power. That's how I created like the battery bar, and they've got things for calendar and your dates and weather and all kinds of preset things that you can use. So if you wanted to say apply something for weather, you can you can just tap on current conditions and it would put that in there. But all we're really using this for is just straight text. So all we have to do is tap up here at the very top, and we can just hit back and change that to whatever we want. So it doesn't really matter if you want to change the whole category on your folder to something else, then by all means change the category name and you can just make your own thing. Okay, then we click the little checkbox in the corner, and once it comes back to here, then we have a very similar thing that what we did for the on tap. So I'm going to do the same thing for utilities here, because if I accidentally tapped on utilities instead of the purple box, then it wouldn't come up with my Nova Launcher settings like I defined. So I'm going to tap on here again because I want them to be the same. You could certainly make them different if you wanted to really go crazy, and you can remember what you set. But we go Nova Launcher, and then we scroll down and we just say Nova Settings. Okay, and you probably could even do that as an app, I guess. Let me check and see if that's an app. Yeah, so Nova Launcher, you probably could just tap on that and it may bring it up too, but we'll leave it how I had it. Okay, so then we just go back and we go back again, and everything's in here, so you can go through and change anything you like on all of them. They're all pretty basic. It's just rectangles or squares and text. Okay, so the same thing for the bottom ones, for say like phone is there, email, you can change those to what you like. And we just hit back. And now if I tap on the purple box, it brings up Nova Settings, just like I wanted. Okay, so pretty cool, pretty handy. Nova Launcher is fantastic. The weather up here, I've kept this obviously, as I mentioned before, as a separate widget, so you could choose to change this. Some people may even want to put a picture in here or something, or make their own wallpaper where this is a picture instead of having this. You could go in and just remove everything other than the battery bar and it would still work. Okay, so but if we want to change this, I'll just show you quickly here. They have a couple of options for the icons for your weather. Oops, I just made the mistake of tapping on my Google. So we have to tap to the right because we put those desktop visualizer icons over here. We have to make sure to tap over here to bring up the Zooper Widget settings. We click on Layout, and then we go down to Scalable Icon Set. And you know, I would love it if the Zooper Widget included some more icon sets. there is only a few. So we tap on icon set, and we have one for battery, which you can use again similarly to this, but it's for batteries. Then they have the Climacons icons, and they have the meteor weather icons. They're quite nice. All of them are very simple. I love these Climacon ones. They got kind of a cool style to them, so that's what I used. But yeah, it would be neat if there was some more options for other icon sets. Maybe they'll add them in the future, and we'll go back. Okay. Now, one thing that you could also consider is if you wanted to not make things clickable, you can take the click out of things. So if you wanted to do a default kill on the tap so that you can't get to your settings, in your main settings you could choose to deactivate the tap on action. So if you accidentally keep touching Zooper widget and it keeps popping up to the settings, you could go in here and just select widget tap on action and just say disable. So if you click on disable, then it won't do anything. Or if you want something like this, like the Nexus alarm to come up for the time instead, certainly you can do that. Okay, lots of options for you. And that way, if you do choose to disable the tap, then what you would have to do is, if you wanted to edit this widget, you would have to go into Zooper widget by going to your app drawer and going down to Zooper widget at the bottom here, and then tapping on configure widgets. Okay, and it makes it a little bit tricky because you have to kind of find the one that you created, so you might have to tap on each one here to figure out which one it is. But then you could open it up, and then you could deactivate that on tap command to be disabled, and then it would automatically make it so it's clickable again. Okay, so hopefully that gives you guys a little bit of a quick tutorial on Zooper widget. The next thing that I will go through with you is the icons that we've got here. Okay, so if you have a specific icon that you like, you can change these. Like for games, for an example, you might not want to use these little stars. You might want to choose something else. So if I was just to hold down on that icon, it will pop up with a choice to say edit. So if I select that, I can now tap on the icon, and it will bring up the icons that I can use. Okay, now again, Nova has changed slightly, so if you're looking for a different icon set, you just have to scroll to the left or the right, and it will take you to the different icon sets. Okay, so for this one, of course, we're using the SMPL white, and so here's a little game icon. So I might choose to use that one, or these ones for some reason are the first like 10 are smaller than the ones below. So you could scroll down and you might go to G. There's a lot of icons here, and it does take some time to find the one that you're going to like. So they are alphabetically set up. So a lot of times if you're looking for something, say like games, you might be able to go there and find. So like we're at E now. So we keep going down F. So now we're at G. Is there something for games here? Yeah, so here's the bigger one for games. Okay, so if I want to use that, I just tap it. It brings that in, and then I just check off here, and now I've got a new icon. Okay, and these are all movable. So if you wanted to move them to the bottom, and you like it being at the bottom, then just grab them and move them to the bottom. Now you've got the whole layout looking slightly different. And the grid is really good. It fits really well. Everything managed to stylistically fit. So yeah, so you could go ahead and modify those however you like, and you'd be good to go. Same thing goes for the bottom ones here. You can just apply your app icon on there, and again, if you're having a hard time getting apps on there, you're going to have to scroll over to the right to the blank screen, hold down your finger on the screen, add the app that you want. So if I put, say, Amazon Kindle, now I have to hold it and slide to the left until it moves over, and now drop it down. Okay, so now that app, if you want to put a new app somewhere, you may choose to change the icon for this, because my default app is not set to the white or the black. It's set to those colorful style icons that I'm using, like in here, right? So that's my default app drawer setting. So if I add an app, it's not going to be white and it's not going to be black. So I have to then go manually in, hold down on that icon, select edit, tap on the icon here, and then select one that I like. So say if it's Amazon, maybe that looks like a book, I could choose that one. Or they may have one that is an actual Amazon style app. So if I was to take some time, there it is right there. So I tap on that and I say OK with the checkbox. So now I've got my Amazon icon. Okay, so we're set, and I think that's about it, and we've got everything set up the way we want, and I hope you guys really enjoy the design. And like I said, give me thumbs up, give me some love on my color screen, and subscribe to me on YouTube. All right, I got lots of themes coming, I got more ideas, I'm going to keep building them, so hopefully you guys are liking it. All right, this is BadBrad checking out. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.
Sitting on the edge, what can